Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Storyline English. It's so good to have you here. Let's take a breath together. Now, imagine for a moment a world without clean water, without pipes under the streets, without a quiet, private room where you can close the door and be alone. A world where the smell of a city was something that followed you everywhere. That world was real. Millions of people lived in it. And today, we are going to travel through time to understand how human beings changed it. Slowly, bravely, and cleverly. This is not just a story about toilets. It is a story about survival, about discovery, about small ideas that grew into great inventions. This is the hidden revolution that nobody talks about. But without it, the world you live in today would not exist. Before we begin, if this is your first time here on Storyline English, welcome. This is a place where you listen, learn, and grow. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a story. And now, let us begin. A long, long time ago, about 5,000 years ago, something amazing happened. In a place called the Indus Valley, in the land we now call Pakistan and northern India, people built cities. Real cities, with straight roads and strong buildings. But here's the part that surprises most people. These ancient cities also had drains. Small stone channels ran under the streets, carrying dirty water away from the homes. Some houses even had private toilets, small rooms with a hole that connected to a drain below. 5,000 years ago. Think about that for a moment. At the same time, far to the west, in the land between two great rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, another great civilization was growing. This was Mesopotamia, the land we now call Iraq. The people there also understood something important. Clean water and dirty water must stay separate. They built systems to bring fresh water into their cities and to take dirty water away. They did not fully understand why this was important. They did not know about germs or disease the way we do today. But they felt it. They noticed that people who drank dirty water became sick. So they worked to find a better way. These were not primitive people. These were not simple people. They were intelligent, creative, and curious. They looked at the world around them and asked, "How can we live better?" That question, that simple, beautiful question, is what started the long journey of sanitation. It is a journey that continues even today. And as we follow this story through time, we will see that the answers were not always easy. In fact, sometimes things got much, much worse before they got better. And that moment of darkness, that difficult chapter of human history, is coming soon in our story. Let us travel now to ancient Rome, perhaps the greatest city the ancient world ever built. At its peak, Rome was home to more than 1 million people. 1 million people living close together, eating together, working together. That creates a very large problem, a very smelly problem. The Romans had an answer. They called it the Cloaca Maxima, which means in Latin, the Great Drain. It was a large underground tunnel built to carry wastewater from the city into the Tiber River. It was not a small project. Workers dug deep into the earth. They built strong stone walls and curved ceilings inside the tunnel. The Cloaca Maxima was so well built that parts of it still exist today, more than 2,000 years later. If you visit Rome, you can still see where it opens into the river. That is how strong and clever the Roman builders were. But the Romans did not stop there. They also built public baths, large, beautiful buildings where people came to wash their bodies. These were not simple places. Some Roman baths had warm rooms, hot rooms, cold pools, and even libraries. People came to the baths to be clean, yes, but also to talk, to meet friends, and to rest. Being clean was part of Roman life. It was part of Roman culture. And there were public toilets, too. Long stone benches with holes placed side by side. Privacy was not important to the Romans. They sat together and talked while they used the toilet. It sounds strange to us today, but to them, it was completely normal. The Romans had a very clear idea. A clean city is a strong city. A clean body is a healthy body. This was their wisdom, and for a long time, it worked. But when the Roman Empire fell, when that great civilization slowly collapsed, something terrible happened to all that wisdom. It was almost forgotten, and the world entered one of its darkest, dirtiest chapters. Imagine walking into a city in medieval Europe, in the year 1300 perhaps, or 1400. You step off a quiet road and into a narrow street. The buildings are tall and close together, almost touching above your head. The sky is a thin line of gray light far above. And the smell hits you immediately. It is heavy and sharp and deeply unpleasant. Because everywhere you look, there is waste. Human waste, animal waste, mud and rot and garbage. It is on the streets, in the gutters, sometimes even falling from the windows above. This was the reality of medieval European cities. The great knowledge of Rome had been lost or ignored or simply forgotten. There were no underground drains. There were no public baths for ordinary people. Most people lived their whole lives without ever fully washing their bodies. A bath was something rare, something that happened a few times a year, if at all. Many people believed that washing too much was actually dangerous. They thought that water opened the skin and let disease in. So they stayed dirty, and they became sick. Chamber pots were used inside homes at night, small ceramic containers that people used as toilets in the dark. In the morning, the contents were thrown from the windows into the street below. There was a warning cry people used, something like, "Watch out below," before they threw it. But still, many people were hit. This was not a pleasant way to live, and it was not a safe way to live either. Disease spread quickly in these dirty streets. The plague, the terrible Black Death, traveled through the rats and the fleas and the filth of medieval cities, and killed millions of people. More than 1/3 of all the people in Europe died. It was the greatest disaster in human history. And many historians believe that the dirt, the terrible state of medieval sanitation, helped the plague spread so fast and so far. The lesson of Rome had been forgotten, and the price was devastating.
By the 1800s, something was changing. The world was entering a great period of new ideas and new machines, what we now call the Industrial Revolution. Cities were growing faster than ever before. London, the capital of Britain, grew from about 1 million people to more than 2 million in just a few decades. And with all those people living close together, the old problems returned. The River Thames, the great river that runs through the heart of London, became something terrible. People threw their waste into it. Factories poured their chemicals into it. The river became dark and thick and poisonous. In the summer of 1858, the smell from the Thames became so powerful that it reached the windows of the British Parliament, the building where the leaders of the country worked. Members of Parliament held cloth soaked in chemicals to their faces to survive the meetings. The newspapers called it the Great Stink, and it forced people to act. The government agreed to fund a great engineering project, a new underground sewer system for London. A man named Joseph Bazalgette designed it. He planned long underground tunnels under the streets of the city, tunnels that would carry waste far away from the river, away from the drinking water, away from the people. It was one of the greatest engineering projects in history. Thousands of workers dug deep into the earth. They built more than 1,300 miles of underground brick tunnels. They worked for years. When the project was finished, the change was immediate and real. The smell disappeared, and more importantly, the disease disappeared too. Because just before this, a doctor named John Snow had made an important discovery. He had studied a terrible outbreak of cholera in London, and he showed, with careful evidence, that the disease spread through dirty water, not through the air as people believed. Dirty water was the enemy. Clean water was the answer. That discovery changed medicine forever, and it changed the city of London, and eventually the whole modern world. The modern flush toilet, the one you know today, did not appear all at once. It was the result of many small improvements over many years. An early version was actually invented in the 1590s by a man named John Harrington, who built one for Queen Elizabeth I of England. But it was not popular. People were not ready for it. 200 years later, in the 1770s, a watchmaker named Alexander Cumming made an important improvement. He added a small curve in the pipe below the toilet, a water trap, that blocked bad smells from coming back up. That small, simple idea is still used in every toilet in the world today. Then a man named Thomas Crapper, yes, that is his real name, helped make flush toilets popular and widely sold in the 1880s. He was a plumber and businessman who showed people that a clean, indoor toilet was possible, affordable, and good. Slowly, more and more homes got toilets. Cities built sewer systems to carry the waste away safely. Clean water began to come into homes through pipes. The world was becoming a cleaner place. And with cleanliness came health.
The great diseases that once killed millions of people, cholera, typhoid, dysentery, became rare. Life became longer. Children survived diseases that once took them away. The simple act of washing hands became a powerful act of protection. All of this life, all of this health, came from the quiet, hidden revolution of sanitation. A revolution that most people never think about, but one that touches every life, every single day. Today, in many parts of the world, clean water comes from a tap in your home. A safe toilet is a few steps away. A sewer system works quietly underground, doing its invisible work. We do not think about it. We do not need to think about it. And that, perhaps, is the greatest sign of how successful this long journey has been. But the journey is not finished. Right now, today, about 2 billion people on our planet do not have access to clean, safe sanitation. Children in many countries still drink dirty water. Families still live without a clean toilet. And because of this, people still get sick and die from diseases that a clean water supply could prevent. The story of sanitation is not yet complete. It is still being written. And perhaps one day, the engineers and the scientists and the ordinary people of our time will finish what those ancient builders of the Indus Valley began 5,000 years ago. This story teaches us something simple and beautiful. It teaches us that the small things, the quiet things, are often the most important things. Clean water, a safe place, a working drain. These things do not feel exciting, but they changed the world. And perhaps, as you listen today, you feel a quiet appreciation for the things around you that you never noticed before. That is the power of a good story. It changes how we see. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Storyline English. You finished the journey, and that means something. Every story you listen to, every word you hear and understand, is another step forward in your English learning adventure. So keep going, keep listening, keep learning. If you enjoyed today's story, please leave a comment below and tell us which part of this history surprised you the most. And if you are listening for the first time, welcome to our family. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a story. We will be here, waiting with the next one. Calm, clear, and made just for you. Until next time, my friends, take care of yourselves and keep listening.